Hello, people from YouTube. We are having some complaints about not using green in our paintings. So, this is going to be a very green paint. Okay, as you already know, we have to begin with a wet canvas with our medium. The medium that is 1 part oil, 3 parts solvent. Very wet canvas. And as you already saw, I spread a little bit of white right in the middle there, and a little bit of white again in the bottom. And with the blow, with the same brush, I'm going to draw this kind of an 8 number. And that was the lesson. No, I'm just kidding. Let's begin with this shape, this 8 shape. And let's pick a little bit of green, and let's spread it around that 8 shape. The blue that I'm using is Cerulean blue, or you can use also PHTALO blue. Maybe some teal, cobalt teal, something like that could work too. The green is emerald green, very bright green, and let's do the same in the bottom of the canvas too. It's kind of a mirror image, but we're going to make it different, okay? Spread it very well. Remember that with the medium, when the canvas is very wet, it's going to be easier to spread the paint around. Good. Let's pull the same paint that we already have here. It's going to be a painting with a lot of paint on it, okay? To give you an idea of the possibilities of the paint. It's not just about spreading very thin layers of paint. We can also play with textures and with the thickness of the paint. Okay, now let me pick a little bit more of blue and spread it right here on the bottom. Be careful to keep that white spot safe. This is going to be a lake or a pond, maybe more kind of a pond in the middle of the forest. This is going to be the spot where the light is going to be bouncing. The reflection on the water. A little bit more of blue. Let's make this more blue. I wanted at the beginning to make it all green, but no, I think it's gonna work well like this. It's going to help us to give the idea of the water separated from the leaves. Yeah, spray it very well. Mix it with the green we already had there. And it's going to look very pretty. It's going to be a very messy painting, very heavily loaded with elements, but it's going to look pretty, don't worry. It's one of the possibilities of the paint. Play with the amount of paint you have on the canvas. Okay, soften it a little bit and let's spread a little bit more blue around here. This would be kind of the sky, and it's kind of a spot that is open in the middle of all the foliage in the forest. So the surrounding area is going to be very dark, but a heavy ray of light is coming right through here. Okay, that's the idea, and it's bouncing on the water, on the pond. Very good. Soften it. And we are going to use another green. Remember, this was emerald green. And the next green that I'm going to use is a darker green. Okay, Any green you use is going to work here, but it has to be darker. This is kind of a phthalo green, you could say, but in this brand has a very funny name, which is Green Lake, which I haven't seen in other brands. So you could use phthalo green, please, if you don't find that kind of green. The idea is that this is a darker green compared to the previous one. With the same brush, of course, I'm trying to give the sensation that heavy foliage that you can find in the forest area. Yeah. See how I'm working more times over the dotting this time, because I want this kind of blended into the background to make it softer. I don't want this very sharp, because this is going to help us to give us the sensation of depth, of that all this foliage is going far away into the background. Okay? Very good. Play around with light, but don't kill it entirely. Okay, looks funny, but it's going to look good, you don't worry. A little bit more foliage, more green, phthalo green. Cool, very cool. Remember, you can use other greens. The idea is that it needs to be darker than the emerald green. Very good, very good. Let's try to give the sensation of some bushes right here. This is going to be kind of the little shoreline on the other side of the pond. We're going to be right here above these bushes, standing looking at the light. Okay, that's just an indication, because remember, right now we're working with silhouettes, so this is going to be very dark. I'm grabbing this is a flat brush, random flat brush that I already have here, and I'm dotting again. Look that this is a rather small brush, so we can dot more without covering a very big area. This is going to help us to build that sensation of texture and depth too. Be careful, because this is pure black. This is pure black, so it can be dangerous. If we just spread it around the canvas without being careful what we're doing. Without being cautious about what we're doing. So remember, this is not the final product, it's kind of an underlayer that is going to help us to build the foliage. This is an easy way to build foliage, to give the sensation of depth to it, okay? There are many ways to do it. This is one of the easiest ones. Okay, let's work a little bit around here in the shore area. The bushes that are sitting there are going to be, of course, a little bit darker than the stuff that is going to be in the background of the background. The background of the background. Let me start to mark here my ground, my foreground. But of course, excuse me, we're going to have a big tree. Yeah, some bushes over here. Some bushes on the other side, some grounding. Looks cool already, I think, but we're going to work a little bit more. Yeah, I keep playing with those shapes, those plants, those bushes. those weeds, whatever is there. Looking cool, looking cool. Okay. We can leave some of those light spots that are shining through the bushes. We can leave some of those, okay? And I'm going to grab again a mix of the greens. Just pick them with a round brush, very, very heavily loaded, and I'm pulling, okay? I'm just pulling. I'm trying to add the paint, but at the same time, kind of let it mix with the paint that we already have there, okay? It has to mix with what we already have there to give us the sensation that is in the background, that is in the middle of all those bushes. Look how here and there I'm starting to pull a little bit of those black spots to make it a little bit darker and to create a variation between these branches, you could say, these indications of branches or of trees that are far in the background. Very good. Keep reloading your brush. Remember, this is a very heavily loaded brush with a mix of the greens. Just pick them with the brush. Okay, and we're starting to pull and to mix with the colors that we already have there. More branches. Remember, these are supposed to be very far away, so that's why we are looking at them with a very, very light color compared to the black that is going to be in the foreground, okay, in front of them. These are just indications here and there. Play a bit. This is very fun because the paint is very, very thick with a very thick layer of paint already there, so it's running very, very easily. It's almost slipping. Slipping is pretty much like painting with your fingers. If you've ever done that, that's kind of it. Here I picked a little bit more blue and let it mix with the blacks that we had already there in the canvas. Little bit more of green. Very, very thin flicks over there. Only indications. Only indication, please. It's just the idea of something happening there. We're not painting the entire thing. The entire thing, no. It's just the indication, the impression of something there, okay? The impression. And yeah, that's exactly what you're thinking, that's impressionism. Capturing the impression of things, not painting them entirely. That's what we are doing with this background. Cool, looking cool. Let's start a bit of dotting. Some mark of bushes. Yeah, let's go right here. Same brush, haven't washed it, haven't changed it. Let's work this shoreline. Let's pull some of that color into the water, because that it's going to help us to create the sensation of reflection of all the foliage there, the reflection here in the water. I want to work this side, but no, let's go to the left. Let's go to the left first, because I think I'm going to work the very, very foreground that we have on the bottom first. Okay? With a fan brush, I'm pulling my paint on my palette to sharpen the edge of the brush to get this kind of fine lines. But since the brush can hold a lot more of paint compared to the fine brushes, to the round brush, it's easier to make these trees. But be very careful, okay? Because remember, it's black. It's black. It's black. This is not random. I'm thinking when I'm starting and where I'm finishing, okay? Very carefully. However, it's just the indication, okay? Do you see already how we are getting the sensation of depth? That the forest goes far and far into the background. That it just keeps going. We don't know where it ends, but we have this spotlight shining through. With the same brush, I'm starting to add some leaves to the trees. Again, with pure black, so be very careful, okay? We already have a very thick layering of paint there. So it's going to be very easily that this just gets super moody. So be very careful with your dotting. Remember to spread it. And if you want something blurry, you can work it a little bit more. But be very careful. And remember to keep those spotlights, okay, between the leaves. Those help us to create texture. Okay, let's work here a little bit more. Careful with the amount of paint you have on your brush, please, especially when you are getting closer to the spotlight. When you're getting to the spotlight, you have to have a brush that is with a very little amount of paint in the brushes, in the bristles, okay? Okay, just indications. Look how this barely paints anything, just little kind of marks, shadowings over there. It's making these spots of blue a little bit darker. So it's giving us the sensation of texture. On the shoreline, close to the shoreline, of course, we're going to have black that is more intense. A little bit of black that is more intense than the stuff in the background. Good. Work it little by little so we don't overload it with black. And let's pull a little bit more of this indication of reflection of the kind of the main trees that we have there, that we can easily see. Okay, just the indication. I don't want to make this super dark. I want this to shine very shiny water. The same in the other side, okay? Little dots here and there. Looking cool. Good. Look how I'm pulling paint from the paint that I already have there. I'm not reloading on my palette. Look. Yeah, I dot one of those very black spots, and I pick a little bit of paint, and I can paint with that too. Okay. Okay. Looking cool. It's just the indication of the reflection of the trees back there. Pulling a little bit more. Remember, we have a very heavy texture back there, but this is going to be only the reflection. In fact, only the idea of the reflection. Okay, let's go back again to our brush. Very softly pull from the shoreline vertically to the bottom, but pay attention to not touch the bottom, because having that black on our bristles can be very bad, because everything is going to be painted in black. We don't want that. We want a very shiny water, okay? Very vibrant water. Okay, looking cool. Yeah, now softening it a little bit, but doing this horizontal movement. It's very soft touch. It's a very soft touch. I'm barely touching the canvas. It's almost like painting with air, okay? Very soft touch. Okay, let me pick now a brush with black. Small brush with black, and let's work this shoreline a little bit more. Let's give it some grounding, because it looked like a lot of bushes floating into the water. We didn't want that, so let's draw this kind of a round soil, mud, a lot of things happening over there. Play with the brush, with the movement to create this, and also a little bit more of foliage over there. Cool, looking cool. Let the paint mix up most of the work in this case. Yeah, irregular, very muddy. It's a shoreline that gets moved a lot by the water. Now what we are doing here, again our main subject, or at least the subject that is going to be closer to us, which is going to be a very large tree. It's going to look super big because it's super close to us, okay? Pure black. This isn't diluted, okay? This is very thick paint, and I'm kind of pushing it into the canvas to let it mix a little bit with the background, to the paint that is already laid there, okay? This kind of the shape of the tree. By the way, you can hold your brush whichever way you want, okay? Whichever way you want. That doesn't matter at all, as long as you get the painting the way you like on the canvas, okay? That stuff that you need to hold the brush very far from you, nah. You can hold it like a pencil if you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's absolutely irrelevant. Just get the paint there the way you want. How you hold the brush with your hand, it doesn't matter. Okay, kind of one side of the tree. Let's thicken the base a little bit more. Let me pick a little bit more of black. We're running out of black. Okay, good, looking cool. A little bit more irregular tree here. Yeah. Okay. little bit of the roots in shapes. Good. Okay, let's make kind of a second branch that is going over here to the top. And maybe, I don't know if a third one, probably yes, yeah. Let's make this over here. Pretty easy tree, don't you think? Pretty easy tree. I think it already looks cool, but we can add a little bit more of detail to make it look even cooler, okay? Very, very easy paint. Just be careful with the black, okay? You just have to be very careful with the black. Okay, let's work kind of the background back there. That's why I didn't want to work it earlier, to see kind of what was going to happen with this tree. Because if it was very, very dark, it was going to kill the shape of this tree. So we need to play around with this shape that is kind of the main subject here, okay? Kind of the spectator of this pond. Very carefully. Remember to spread your dotting and make more branches over there. Indications stop happening there. The vegetation here and there. Okay, some more leaves. We need to darken this a little bit. And I'm going to do that by adding leaves. That are going to be some all in the background. But then I'm going to add some foliage to these branches, so it's going to get even darker. But you don't worry, it's going to look cool, okay? We need these variations in tone, in intensity, to give us that sensation of foliage, okay? Foliage and depth. Working here a little bit more the background. Very little amount of paint on my brush, almost dry. Almost a dry brush. Yeah, you can see the layering over there, okay? The white stop happening in the white. The blue stop happening in the blue. The green also stop happening there. And overall that kind of grayish, kind of light black that we have over there, okay? And then of course the pure black over all of that. Let me put a little bit more of this. Remember, I want a water very shiny, very colorful, but a little bit of dark on the sides is going to help me to give it more contrast. The middle is going to shine more with that, okay? Yeah, let's pull a little bit more of this rounding. This base, let me darken this a little bit more to help us with the mirror image of that canopy there closing over us. Good. Pull some of this black carefully. Look, I'm not running my brush horizontally here because it's for black. I don't want those marks here, okay? Let me dot a little bit more here, closer to the tree. Need to kill some of the super bright spots that are closer to our main tree because it's making it popping in a way I don't want. It's making it look like it's apart. We don't want that. Again, with my brush with color, not with black, carefully, horizontal strokes, very soft, kind of painting with air, but do not touch the black, okay? Do not touch the black and pull it. That's going to be a real mess. I'm going to paint here. This brush is a little bit higher to closing ourselves in this area, our view, okay? Careful. Remember, the amount of paint we have in the canvas is going to make the paint feel very different from other times, okay? But you need to learn to work with that too, because if you like it, that's another possibility with the painting, okay? Play with those layering, those thick layerings. I'm grabbing white, pure white, with the tip of my palette knife, and in an horizontal way I'm going to draw these lines kind of over the black, a little bit over the black of the shore. You can look already how immediately it starts to look like a reflection, okay? With these limits that we are drawing with the white, and I'm going to start to draw some of these shines on the water surface, okay? Immediately looks like water with this white over all those colors. More white, but only on the tip, please, only on the edge of the palette knife. And scrap it, the edge, okay? You can press, but only a little bit, because we want thin lines, okay? We don't want thickness, we want thin lines. If we press too much, we're going to get a very thick line. Touching with the edge of my palette knife. Reload your palette knife, of course, because you have a very little amount of paint there, okay? You can see it, right? The water shapes that we are creating in this pond on the surface. Very cool. There's not much movement here, only indication of shines. Okay, let's work the side a little bit more, very carefully. Careful with the edge of the canvas, because it's going to pull a good amount of paint from the palette knife, okay? It's going to scrap a good amount of paint from the palette knife, and it's going to lay it there, right on the corner. So be careful there. Good. Okay, just adding little touches here and there to make the shape of the shoreline, of the mud, where it ends and where actually the water begins. Looking cool. Yeah. Little marks here and there. I think I need a little bit more white over this black to make it shine more. just a little touch. Be careful to only use the edge. And yeah, we're getting to that part, people, when we're adding more foliage, these grass leaves over here with our super fine brush, this kind of I don't know, 4 zeros, 4-0 brush. Good. Some plants growing in the base of this tree, the roots, yeah, flowing out between the roots. Yeah. Little by little, to give more texture to this part. Some higher branches, some flicks, indications. Also remember, this is a kind of a silhouette, so we don't need that much detail also, only indications. I think maybe around here. I don't know, probably I'm going to try to make this into a rock. Just let me make this kind of markings, starting to give me the idea of what's going to be the shape of the rock. There are all kinds of shapes of rocks, so let's see what comes out of this. Probably a very pointy rock. Very pointy rock. So you have to be careful walking over there, because if you fall, you're going to break something. Yeah, something like this. Very, very kind of sharp. Sharpen it maybe by the water, by the rain. Okay. Remember to take a step back and to look at the painting and decide where do you want to add more things, okay? For here, I need to make this surface a little bit uneven, more uneven. It was very, very flat for all the grass that was going on there. Let me darken some areas over here. The sides that are not getting that much amount of light. Let's work a little bit more of twigs over here. Very loosely, very easily. Just be careful about the amount of paint you have, okay? Because we are working with black. Let me darken this to pop it to the front of that shoreline. Okay, looking good. And I'm going to add a little bit of foliage to this main tree in the front, okay? Very easily. Brush very, very loaded. Remember, thick paint to do this. Very thick paint out of the tube. No solvents. No oils. Super thick paint, okay? And just dot. And remember to spread your dotting. That is the key. And do not overwork where you already dotted, okay? 1, 2, maybe 3 passes you can have there, okay? Without starting to messing it up. Yeah, Little bit more foliage, more leaves. On this side too. Good. Okay, it's looking cool. Careful, careful. Remember, it's easy, but beware of where you land your brush, okay? And the amount of paint you have on your brush. That's the key. That is the key. What do you think, people? I think we are almost done here. Just think I'm gonna darken this area a little bit more. Maybe add more flicks here and there in the background and in the foreground. And I think we are already finished here. I hope you enjoy it. And if you like it, please subscribe and share it, please. And see you on the next time.